Shoya Ishida rips up his calendar after April 15th. In the days that follow, he quits his job, sells his things, and takes all his money from the bank. On April 15th, he puts the money next to his mother's bed and walks to a nearby bridge. He climbs onto the railing, ready to end his pain. But then, he hesitates. A few years back, young Shoya was a troublemaker in school. He caused chaos with his friends, Ueno and Shimada, and everyone knew about his antics. One day, a new girl named Nishimiya Shoko joins their class. When she's asked to introduce herself, she pulls out a notebook and writes that she is deaf and will communicate through it. The students are curious about her, especially the troublemakers who see her as an easy target for bullying. Right away, Ueno and some girls start teasing Nishimiya about her deafness. Nishimiya struggles to fit in, but tries her best. Unfortunately, the bullying makes it harder for her. Shoya joins in, trying to make his classmates laugh at her expense. One day, a volunteer from the Sign Language Club comes to teach the class how to communicate with Nishimiya. But most students aren't interested in learning. Only Sahara decides to help. Sahara and Nishimiya become friends, but soon Sahara starts facing bullying too. Unlike Nishimiya, Sahara can't ignore it and eventually leaves the school, leaving Nishimiya alone again. Nishimiya tries to befriend Shoya, using sign language to tell him she wants to be friends, but he thinks she's being strange and throws dirt on her, making her feel worse. She thinks her deafness is the problem and starts wearing hearing aids to fit in better. But this only gives the bullies more chances to pick on her. Shoya and Ueno start taking her hearing aids away and tossing them. They keep doing this until one day, when Shoya pulls her hearing aids off, causing her to bleed from her ears. Nishimiya's mother then tells the school that they've lost several hearing aids in just 2 months. They were expensive, and Nishimiya refuses to say who broke them. The teachers suspect Shoya, and even though others helped, they all blame him. When Shoya gets home, his mom is on the phone with the principal, learning about everything that happened. She takes him to meet Nishimiya and her mom, apologizing for his actions and giving them money to help replace the hearing aids. Nishimiya's mother takes her aside, and when she comes back, Shoya notices his mom has a tear in her ear. She removed her earrings to give Nishimiya's mom the money. Shoya feels awful, not just for what he did, but for hurting his mom too. From that day, Shoya is bullied like Nishimiya for trying to protect himself from blame. He experiences the same treatment he once gave her, making his life miserable. Nishimiya still wants to be his friend and tries to help him, even cleaning his desk of mean notes. One day, he sees her cleaning and lets his anger out on her, leading to a big fight. The next day, Nishimiya leaves school. As Shoya grows up, he reflects on how badly he treated Nishimiya for things she couldn't change. He feels so guilty that he can't even look people in the eye because they seem so much better than him. Ishida starts to understand that he's been a terrible person, someone who doesn't deserve to be part of society. The world feels small, and everyone around him seems like big X mark. One day, he decides he can't take it anymore. On April 15th, he goes to a bridge, ready to jump. But as he steps onto the edge, he stops. Deep down, he doesn't want to go through with it. Instead of giving up, Ishida decides to confront his guilt. He heads to the Sign Language Club, carrying Nishimiya's notebook, the one she used to write in to communicate. He hopes to return it and talk to her. At first, Nishimiya feels nervous about talking to him, but when she sees that he's learned some sign language, she relaxes. Ishida remembers how he had asked her to be friends in the past using the same gesture and realizes how wrong he was then. He quickly changes the subject and heads home. At home, Ishida's mom finds out about his dark plans. She's shocked and upset, asking how he could even think about it after everything she's done for him. She doesn't want the money he left for her if it means he's planning to die. She confronts him and threatens to burn the money unless he promises never to think about hurting himself again. Ishida promises, but she accidentally burns the money anyway. Even though he chooses to live, Ishida still struggles at school. He feels like a loner and can't make eye contact with anyone. His emo phase seems unfixable, but he wants to keep his promise to his mom and decides to visit Nishimiya after school, even though he's unsure if he should. On his way home, he sees a chubby boy being bullied by a guy who's trying to take his bike. Ishida thinks for a moment before stepping in to help, but not in the usual heroic way. Instead, he offers the bully his own bike, which the bully takes and rides away. For a moment, Ishida thinks this is a sign from God telling him not to meet Nishimiya. But then he starts to think of ways to see her casually. He spots a bread coupon on the ground and thinks it could be his excuse. When he arrives at the Sign Language Club with a loaf of bread, a small middle schooler stops him at the door. The kid claims to be Nishimiya's boyfriend and tells Ishida to stay away from her, slamming the door in his face. Disappointed, Ishida heads home. On his way back, he meets the chubby boy he tried to help earlier. The boy has brought back the bike the bully stole. Just like that, Ishida's X mark disappears. The boy introduces himself as Tomohiro Nagatsuka. Ishida realizes he had ignored Tomohiro in class before, but now they become friends right away. Tomohiro insists they watch Morbius together, declaring that Ishida is his best friend. Ishida tries to visit Nishimiya again, but this time Tomohiro comes with him and confronts the kid claiming to be Nishimiya's boyfriend. While Tomohiro keeps watch, Ishida and Nishimiya talk below by the pool. Both feel awkward because of their past, so they bring up the notebook again. When Nishimiya opens it, Ishida remembers all the mean things he had written before. He quickly snatches it away, but it slips from his hands and falls into the pool. Nishimiya jumps in to retrieve it, and Ishida follows her. A kid watches them from a distance and takes their picture. That night, he sees the photo online, and the next day, he gets in trouble at school. He's called to the teacher's office and put on house arrest for the week. However, his mom lets him go outside to watch his little sister, Maria, play. While at the playground, he runs into the same boy again, realizing he was the one who posted the... Ishida isn't mad and invites the boy to his house for lunch. The boy stays until night, and Ishida walks him home. The boy reminds Ishida that he knows about his past actions toward Nishimiya, and that pretending to be nice now won't change anything. Ishida agrees that he did terrible things and feels like he doesn't deserve to live, but he wants to make things right. The boy smiles and reveals that he is actually Yuzuru, Nishimiya's younger sister. Nishimiya had run away from home because her mom was upset with her for sharing the picture and getting Ishida in trouble. As they walk home, Yuzuru starts to forgive Ishida, but Nishimiya's mom still isn't ready to forgive him. When she sees them coming back, she thinks Yuzuru has been taken against her will. In anger, she slaps Ishida and walks away with Yuzuru. Over the next few weeks, Yuzuru helps Ishida and Nishimiya become closer. Ishida tries hard to fix his mistakes, including reuniting Nishimiya with Sahara, her old friend. Sahara, who was shy and timid like before, immediately apologizes for leaving Nishimiya in elementary school. Nishimiya understands, and they become friends again. The three of them, along with Tomohiro, spend their days feeding fish and having fun together. One day, while shopping with Nishimiya, Ishida runs into Ueno. She hasn't changed at all. As soon as she sees Nishimiya, she starts bullying her again. Ueno tries to get Ishida to join in like the old days, but he refuses. He doesn't want to go back to his old ways. Ueno laughs at Ishida's change of heart. Although she wants to be friends with Ishida again, she doesn't want anything to do with Nishimiya. She believes Nishimiya is the one who broke their group. A few days later, Ishida and his friends go to an amusement park and have a great time. Ishida wonders if it's okay for someone like him to feel happy. For a moment, he forgets his worries and enjoys the moment, believing maybe he deserves to be happy after all. But soon, everything falls apart. Nishimiya visits the doctor with her grandmother and learns she will never be able to hear again. This news makes Nishimiya very sad. A few days later, her grandmother passes away, adding to her pain. Ishida struggles to understand what Nishimiya is going through. On the day of the fireworks festival, Ishida, Nishimiya, and Yuzuru go together. Nishimiya leaves early, saying she has to study. Suddenly, Yuzuru asks Ishida to get a camera from their house. When he arrives at their home, he sees Nishimiya climbing on the guardrail. His heart races. She's about to give up, just like he wanted to do weeks before. Ishida rushes to her, grabs her arm just as she slips, and begs for strength. He promises that if he can save her, he will face his fears and become a better person. With that prayer, he pulls her back to safety, but falls from the guardrail himself. Ishida is taken to the hospital. While he recovers, Ueno stays by his side, refusing to let Nishimiya near him because she blames her for what happened. Even so, a guilty Nishimiya waits at the hospital every day to see Ishida. One night, Nishimiya dreams of Ishida saying goodbye, which frightens her. She runs to their usual meeting spot by the pond. Meanwhile, Ishida wakes up from his coma and rushes to the pond too. They meet and apologize to each other. Ishida says he's sorry for bullying her and wants to help her face her fears. Nishimiya apologizes for not trying hard enough to fit in with everyone. A few weeks later, Ishida and Nishimiya go to Ishida's school for a festival with their friends. Ueno has started to warm up to Nishimiya and even learn some sign language. At the festival, Ishida still feels uneasy looking at people he thinks are better than him. But with his friends around him, he begins to stand tall again, and the X marks disappear.